Hello, hello. Welcome to Product and Cake, a podcast that we talk about product and sometimes cake, but mainly product management. And today in the studio is with me, my co-host, Paul. How are you doing?
I suffer from my last team meeting.
Oh, no.
How are you, Gonche?
I'm good, but now I'm scared for the next team meeting. What happened?
You know, team meetings tend to turn into PowerPoint karaoke.
Yeah.
When does this happen?
Every time. No, joking aside. Unfortunately, sometimes... First, let's divide it. What do you mean by team meeting? Because sometimes I really, really enjoy the team meetings, but it is dependent on what we are doing as a team in that meeting. So sometimes it is a brainstorming or a workshop, and those are very fruitful. And sometimes the updates can be, I don't know how to say it in a nice way, but sometimes the update can be a little bit time consuming for what they are. So I think that there can sometimes, again, they can be done in a different format, like a video recording or just a silent reading.
Yeah, before we come to the solutions, let's firstly claim very clear there's nothing wrong in meeting your team. And you have to regularly meet, and you need to create a personal connection to the other ones, especially in this hybrid and remote setups.
Exactly.
So when we don't be forced anymore to sit in the same office, that is great, then it's even more important to connect somehow. And the very fast reflex of every leader or manager is to set up a regular meeting.
Yeah.
So we meet every 2 weeks, and then the leads of each department just give us a short update. Wait, I have a great idea. We can always follow the same template, so it's easier for me to understand what these leads doing in their departments.
Yeah.
And I can put them in a row and just check the status slides, right? Because I'm a manager who has to solve a lot of things. And when it is useful for me, I also assume it will be useful for everyone. Mm-hmm. Leads to the situation that in some projects, we don't name one or the other, you have a request to fill out a template, a slide template on your key initiatives, on the blockers, on the levers, on the next things that you will do. And then a lot of people get forced to sit in the same meeting and listen to someone who's reading out the slides.
Oh.
And when I follow the participants who still have their video on, then I always see the moving eyeballs, reading something else, being distracted.
The light on their face changing rapidly.
Right, that's also a nice sign of surfing in the internet or doing tasks. I also discovered in myself that I thought, okay, today I have this 2-hour team meeting. Nice, then I can really work on my tasks and sort out a little bit of stuff.
Oh no.
And this is horrible in the end.
Yeah, because I think team meetings are one of the most expensive things a company can do. There is this concept that I just saw today that Google Meet or Google Calendar adds a price tag to it's
really?
A concept, it's not a reality, just disclaimer. We just saw it online that someone created this suggestion. Google Calendar creates a automatically generated price tag for each meeting that you have. Nice. And it suggests that can this be a meeting? Can this be an email? And it is very interesting.
There are plenty of meeting costs calculators out there. You can put in the number of people and the average salary, and then it shows to you, okay, this hour just costs 20,000 euros. And if you then reflect on what did we do on that hour, and half of the people were distracted and did something else, then where's the value in it?
Yeah, I agree. I think To be honest, one part of value for it is in the documentation that it creates. But I agree that it does not necessarily need to be done in a setup that someone does the presentation karaoke.
Yeah.
Or PowerPoint karaoke.
Yeah. So I see two things to solve it, because the documentation is needed somehow, right? And you need to share somehow the information. And I mean, we both had a lot of team meetings already together in a very different formats, but I like to remember most in the very early days of our project when we were smaller and we had weekly team meetings, right? About an hour. And I think the important thing why I really like to remember back in that time is that we put some attention to make these meetings unexpected.
Yeah.
So there always something new happened.
And everyone was looking forward to that meeting. Like at least myself, and I know two other people in the team that we had at that time, that we talked about it. We were looking forward to Mondays, which is a weird thing.
Weird, yeah.
We were looking forward to Mondays, Monday mornings specifically, to start the team meeting, because it was always very, very fun and exciting. We had a very nice check-in question usually that helped us bond as a group, and it was always very funny the way we did it. And then right after that, we looked back at some numbers and key data points that happened in the last week and some explanation if we saw a spike there. And then we looked back at the goals that we've set for ourselves for last week and how did we achieve them. And then we discussed the goals for the next week as a team, as a group. And we agreed on, let's finish these things or let's achieve these things. And then we sometimes had a guest. We had a special guest to tell us a little bit about their squad or their team or about a legal topic or marketing campaign.
Yeah.
And it was really, really fun.
Yeah, right. I like to remember the one meeting where we invited some external party to the meeting, and then while I was introducing the guest, you realized that we may show some things we should not show. You very quickly changed the presentation
the data.
on last second. But anyway, the key thing is here to make it different from meeting to meeting. And to also shift the focus. So when we had certain marketing things, we may reduce the time for the numbers and for the goals, because we had a special guest from different part of the company to give us some insights there, or to let some of the team members present their work. And all of that leads to the situation that now we remember back to that days, and
we just smile. Like, that was a good meeting. Thanks.
And it creates relationship in between, and it makes us stronger as a team.
Yeah. And I think one key point of it was almost every participant had a stake in it. So the presentation was not something hidden until last minute and then shared suddenly in the meeting, or only a few people could access it, but it was everyone who just could put things on the agenda and just say, I want 10 minutes, I want 15 minutes, or just check the agenda and do something with it.
Exactly. Have an open document that is also able to add something to the agenda during the week.
Yeah.
So when something came to your mind, you add it, and then when you prepare the meeting, you can still decide, okay, we should move that to the next week or whatever.
And also what I really liked, even though it was a meeting that everyone almost every time joined, it was not forced. So if someone saw that the agenda does not really matter to them, or it's not something they're not involved in it, and the document was there. So the goal of the last week, the data, the link out to the other documents that someone else, for example, presented, everything was there. So they didn't, if they had other important topics, they were not forced to spend that time there. They could just skip it and just look at the slides later. Yeah.
And what we have to say is that back in that time, we were a smaller team, right? Maximum 10 people maybe?
Yeah.
Or 12, something around that. So it's a complete difference if you have maybe 50 people you want to update.
The question is, so in company all hands and like bigger meetings, I understand that, but usually there is just one person presenting the overall topics, and it's just for everyone is just to listen and to be on the same page. For other reasons, how come you can have a meeting with 50 people and everyone update each other? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's more difficult and it requires more preparation.
I think then at that point, when it is a meeting with 50 people or something similar, maybe the format should also be different.
Yeah.
So as an example, something else that we are doing as a cross-squad collaboration between multiple teams, when all of the product managers want to come together and discuss topics, we have an open agenda and everyone just puts an agenda. It's not that we all the time have a same template updating each other. Mm-hmm. And it makes it very exciting.
Yeah. That changes, and I saw already multiple times that people tend in a bigger round to stick to the idea of check-in questions. Mm-hmm. But of course, you can't have a round where everyone is saying something. So you create breakout rooms, right? And you put in a bunch of people, hey, talk about this and that question. But I think that's not a good idea because it is not supporting the team building thing. Another way I saw recently was to have this check-in question. And the moderator is asking it into the round and everyone is pasting their answer into the chat. And the moderator is picking 1 or 2 or 3 questions depending on the time and ask someone concretely. So the question was maybe, if your feeling is a vegetable, what vegetable would you be? And then you say, I'm a cucumber. And then I could say, hey, Gonche, why did you put a cucumber? Right? So you can pick someone, you still have the group feeling and you have a few people saying something to generate this feeling of, hey, we are all together in this one. Yeah,
I agree. And also something that we are doing right now is when we have a big round, so not even 10 people, but 7, for example, PMs that we want to update each other. And we have the presentation with a similar slide that is a template that everyone needs to feel at the same time and so on. When we have that, we save 5-10 minutes in the beginning of the meeting for silent reading.
Yeah, this is also a great thing.
And then we say, do not talk in that time. We just put questions in each other's slides. And then the person goes through the slides, does not read from it does not do the karaoke anymore, but just answers to the question and resolves them.
Yeah, this is a great thing, but I think it requires strong moderation abilities because you need to, it's unusual for people to not read what is on the slide, right?
Yeah.
To really assume everyone read the slide already is hard.
Yeah, you just need to keep reminding.
Yeah, exactly.
So please just answer the questions. Let's stick to the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And one very, very important thing about team meetings or about meetings in general is to rephrase over and over again why we are doing this meeting. So starting with saying, hey, we are meeting now with 50 people for 1 hour to really align us. And this is our most important part of the week because this is where you get the information about the company. For example, it was just a random example. Or it's a small team meeting with 10 people and we say, hey, we need to align on the goals of this week here because we want to answer all the same thing if someone else is asking us. So referring to the goal of the meeting or to the bigger why is important, and don't expect that the people remembering it or listen to it carefully. So you need to repeat it over and over every time, basically. And then slowly
it becomes a routine and people remember.
It becomes a routine and it becomes reality because the human brain is hearing it and then processing it while listening. But it is framed already. So everyone is clear why this meeting is happening. And if you can't answer it, if you set up the meeting and you don't have this clear why, then ask yourself again, please, do you need to have this meeting or is it an email that you can send around? Please read the following slides.
Yeah, sounds about right. I think if people before setting the meeting just took 5 minutes to think if this needs to be a meeting or just an email or a Slack message or just a voice message or a video, like anything else but taking 2 or more people's time at the same time, and it needs to be synchronized, we would have so many less meetings.
Yeah.
Something that we also did recently is we have, so out of the 5 days in a week, 3 days we have synchronized dailies, and 2 days we have a sync daily. So
nice.
we just create a thread in the Slack channel we have. We just say, this is the daily.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone writes what they've done yesterday, and then people just talk to each other and say, yeah, so about that one, did you do that? And then everything gets resolved there.
Yeah. And is it working for you?
Yes, very well.
So will you switch over to 3 days async and 2 days sync?
Maybe.
So
I would start, yeah, maybe. Why not?
this is a very good idea. Also, I would add to make clear why you are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a template maybe to post it in again, or even a Slack bot or whatever messenger you are using to post this message automatically. Hey, we're synchronizing asynchronously to save us some time, to give us the possibility to have a documentation and to follow up on certain things. And then it needs some time to become a habit of the team.
The team is very, like, they immediately jump to the idea, and everyone, so for example, today was the sync day, and someone created the thread in the morning, and then everyone is adding their tasks anytime that they log in, because also we have some colleagues that are not in the same location and they work in a different time zone.
Oh, yeah.
So they start their work at around 1:30 Berlin time. So this makes it very, very easy to have joint non-existent meetings.
Yeah. And then the last point on asynchronous meetings would be the video recording. To record yourself, maybe even with some slides, and send around a video update if you want to make sure to deliver a certain message.
Yeah,
what do you think about that one?
I also did that recently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we were launching a new product, and I had to have multiple meetings with legal, with sales, with some other team members from different parts of the department, and also B2B marketing and so on, to explain the exact same thing. I couldn't have a meeting with 50 people at the same time because of everyone's calendar. And I couldn't also have had 20 separate meetings in a span of 1 week to explain it to everyone. So I just set a meeting with my own self. Me, myself, and I had a meeting. I shared my screen. I explained everything the way that I wanted to explain it in the meeting. I added to that anything that they need to make sure that they know for each specific department. That, hey, salespeople, when you see this, please have in mind this is this. Marketing, have this mind, da-da-da. And I just talked for, I think, 10, 15 minutes. And I just sent that around.
Yeah, nice.
And everyone really gave good feedback to me about that, because some people said that, yeah, we watched it, dabbled as it, or I didn't recognize this, or I didn't understand this part. I could easily go back and watch it again. And they just asked me the questions also async, and I answered them. And I put all of the questions and the answers in one single doc with the link to the video, and everyone was very happy.
Cool. So then next on our agenda should be how to record podcasts asynchronously. But until we arrive to that point, make sure to forward this episode to someone who's organizing meetings. Because I think there were some really good points in it, and you can use it as the icing of your meeting organization thinking.
Like on the cake.
Exactly. And we here are back on one of the long list of next topics.
Yes. Thank you and bye. All right. So thank you for listening up to this point. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. And if you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear it, right?
Yes, totally. Feedback and questions and also opposite opinions are always welcome.
And also, if you have any recommendation for us, what topic to talk about, if you have any person in mind that you think we should interview for any specific topic you have in mind, we would love to hear that. So you can send it to us via email.
Yeah, sure. Or via social media networks. You will find us, I guess.
Yes, there will be some info of how to contact us in the description.
Yeah,
Look for it.
Or send it via snail mail to mobile.de office and write CO Product and Cake Podcast. So a lot of people will know about the podcast then.
That's a good point. Let's do it. Thank you. And bye again.